Welcome to the Human Nature Channel. I'm your host, mtamsula, also known as Daddy Baby on Twitter. And what am I doing here? Well, what I'm doing here today is finishing up with the preface to S.I. Hayakawa's Language in Thought and Action. I got one more thing I want to cover. I promise I'll get to chapter 1 later on today when I go up to the farm. But at the end of the preface, OSI mentions general semanticist Alfred Korzybski and his 1933 book on semantics called Science and Sanity. Korzybski is the one who coined the famous phrase, "The map is not the territory." There's the world out there. And then there's the map of it between your ears, and they're not necessarily the same thing, but I'm sure you can take it from there. Obviously, S.I. Hayakawa was heavily influenced by Korzybski. Actually, the book is 900 pages long. I have a PDF file of the thing. It's got 6 prefaces. I will be over 100 years of age by the time I get it finished. But obviously, S.I. had read it, maybe even more than once. And if you go down to your favorite bookstore looking for a copy of Language in Thought and Action, you will look under linguistics/psychology if you want to find it. And that's bullshit. This is a book on semantics. The study of meaning, possibly the most important and the most dangerous subject in the entire world because people kill each other over meaning. Which brings us to Joe. Joe was somebody I used to know. Now, I've met a lot of very, very interesting people post 9/11, right? Joe goes right to the top of the list. Joe Tamboola, that's Tamboola. Compare it to my last name if you're so inclined. I will do a separate video on Joe, probably sooner rather than later. But for our purposes, Joe was somebody I would see in the coffee shops. Joe would invite me to sit and we would talk. This actually went on for more than a year, like kind of weekly. Joe gave me the greatest lesson in semantics I could imagine. Not on purpose. Let me explain. Joe was not stupid, but Joe was an idiot in the classical sense of the word. If you go back to the Greek root words, you find idiotes, meaning layman or ignorant person, but you also find the word idios, meaning one's own, something self-contained. You get words, modern words like idiom and idiosyncratic out of it, which would be another way of saying Joe lived in Joe's world and nothing really got through. Here was one of Joe's interesting ideas. Joe says, competition's a bad thing. I'm like, if you say so. He's like, no, it is. Competition is taught, and we should stop teaching competition. Now, the first thing that pops into my head is in the animal kingdom, you see a hell of a lot of competition for territory, food, mates. I'm like, okay, Joe. I says, Joe, if competition is taught, who taught the first person competition? And Joe said, it's a paradox. Okay, so you see what I'm dealing with here, okay? And then there was the other time. Joe's there. Imagine playing chess without checkmate. Even at that moment, I realized what Joe was doing. Joe was taking a game like chess, very well known, and removing its core feature and just like pushing it off to the side and going, well, what do you think? I'm somebody who read Bobby Fischer's book on chess a long, long time ago. Chapter 1, page 1, how to do checkmate. Okay, I mean, if you remove checkmate from chess, it's no longer chess. I don't know what it is. Right? I'm thinking moving around pieces of plastic on a tabletop. Well, that's kind of what it is. Sneaky way for two gay guys to kill time before one decides to jump the other. Maybe. So I'm like, Joe, it's no longer chess. You've taken a big chunk of meaning from chess. It's no longer chess. He's like, yes, it is, but it's more like dance. Dance? Yeah. And you could appreciate the beauty of the moves. We never got this far into it. I never got a clarification on whether you can still remove pieces from the chessboard. Well, basically then it's, a biker brawl in a bar parking lot, but other than that, and knowing how Joe thinks, he probably wouldn't even allow pieces to be removed from the board. So it's basically, yeah, Joe found a way to move it in, turn it into moving pieces of plastic around. Okay. So either one of two things is going on here. The tragedy of low T, so that it is essentially pickled Joe's brain in estrogen, or Joe was a woman passing herself off as a man. And I do have a couple of reasons for believing that may be true. Have a good one.
I want my money.